everyone, it's Celeste and welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about cosplay! I teach you tutorials on how to make the outfit, how to do the makeup, so you can become the character of your dreams. Today's video is actually Lapis Lazuli from Steven Universe. While I was working on my wedding dress, I completely finished all of Steven Universe, and I am so happy to announce that I am going to be doing a lot of Steven Universe cosplays. Which ones to be exact? I don't know, just look for the videos in the future. Speaking of future, make sure to subscribe down below so you will never miss out on any future videos and become a member of my sewing pincushion called YouTube. This outfit, I challenged myself to make it as fast as possible, and this is such an easy outfit. I don't know why people are waiting to do this. Okay, so let's start my tutorial. The material I will be using is this nice true blue cobalt satin and then this dark blue satin. You can think of this as a midnight blue, and I will be working on this cosplay, Lapis Lazuli from Steven Universe. For me to start this outfit, I'm going to be starting the skirt. So I'm going to cut out the waistband. My waistband right now I'm cutting out is 4 inches on the dark material. Once I have it all cut out, I'm actually going to grab some pins and then fold it over on top of itself. Reason being is I actually want this waistband to be 2 inches wide. Once I have it all pinned over, I'm going to cut down the fold, carefully not stabbing myself with the needles, and then remove the needles. Because this is a heavy satin, I decided to seal the ends using a flame. You could do other things such as using pinking shears to cut, using a serging stitch, a serging machine, or fray check. For me, I decided that flame would be best for this project and faster. So make sure to go ahead and seal off all of your edges so it does not fray. Satin tends to fray very much so. And then go ahead and sew your waistband pieces together to make one super mega waistband. This is what my waistband looks like. I decided to actually sew down the stitch so it's a little bit reinforced. Since I only had a limited amount of fabric for the dark blue material, I decided to sketch out the type of triangle that I want for the bottom of the skirt. I didn't want the skirt to be too wide with the little triangle, or I didn't want it to be too thick. So I made some adjustments on paper first. Honestly, this shape can change depending on how tall, how wide, how thin you are, so this one, play around that makes you happy on that shape. When I was happy with the triangle for the skirt, I made sure to get out the dark material and then cut it out on a fold. This is because I want to make sure that it is a perfect triangle, so I'm going to pin it down first and then cut it out. After I'm done cutting it out, I made sure to keep everything together and then burn the edges. For my skirt, I'm actually making it into a quarter circle skirt. So it's going to be kind of like a circle skirt, but not exactly, and it's still going to flow a little bit nicely. Lapis's skirt has an A-line shape, so that's what we're going for. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it down to my measurement to my calves, which is about 23 inches, and then cut it out from there. There are plenty of tutorials online on how to make skirts like this. If you want to see a tutorial like that on my channel, please leave me a comment down below saying that you want it. Otherwise, I can just link you another one, or you can find a different way how to do it. There are multiple different ways to do it, so if you really want my tutorial, just let me know. Once I had the first skirt created, now I needed the back piece, and I just cut it out again on the same material. With this second skirt piece, I made sure to cut it open and in half. This way there is no seam on the front piece. With all the skirt pieces now together, I'm going to be sewing them with my sewing machine. Once I have all the skirt completed, I'm going to be lighting a candle. And why am I lighting the candle? Why? Because I'm actually going to be burning the seam on the inside. So this way it seals all of it and I don't have to worry about bulkiness. Here's a closer look. So with the candle and being careful in a ventilated area, I'm going to be burning the edges, and the edges are going to be completely safe. Make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area, open doors, gas mask, everything possible, because this might have a terrible smell. Because I am already finished with the seams on the inside, I'm going to be doing this to the hem as well. As long as the hem is even and perfect, I'm going to go ahead and just burn it off. Now that everything is nice and sealed, I'm going to find the middle of my skirt and the middle of the triangle that we first cut out. Pin them together so this way it lines up perfectly. Then continue pinning the rest of the triangle onto the top part of the skirt. Now grab your waistband. We're going to be attaching it. Some of my waistband is already pinned together so that way it's easy and I just sew it on. So fold over your waistband first and then place it on. What I like to do is actually pin the waistband with the seam of the skirt. So make sure that it's nice and centered and then go ahead and go along the lines of the waistband. Also, if I'm in a rush, I just start at the edge of the material and then work my way to the other side of the edge. This is really fast and efficient for me, so that's what I usually do too. I do both ways, but this time, yeah, I'm just trying to get my way through this. Now time to sew the waistband to the skirt. Go ahead and slowly start stitching on your waistband and make sure that everything is nice and positioned. Slowly take out each pin as soon as you get close, that way it gets removed where it needs to be. You don't want any broken needles, that's why you pull out your needles, and if you don't, you're gonna have a bent needle or you'll have a broken needle, and then it really sucks. So heed my warning, take out your needles, try not to sew over. If you do sew over them, then so be it. After you attach your waistband, go ahead and flip it to the other side. What we're going to do now is secure the waistband down with an extra stitch. Go ahead and flip over your waistband to the other side and make sure that both of the seams are face down. This is semi like a French seam, but of course all the seams are fine because they're burned. So just do a nice stitched edge at the top of it. You don't have to go on top of the triangle if you don't want to. I believe I did, so go ahead and do that. This is on the wrong side of the material, by the way. For a finishing touch on the skirt, we're actually going to be using this nice matching blue zipper. I actually got this off of Amazon a long time ago in a giant bundle of like 30 zippers. So in order to add this, I'm going to be changing my foot to a zipper foot. Once it's attached, I'm going to go ahead and sew it down. When using the zipper foot, make sure to do a straight stitch. If you end up doing a different stitch, you might actually mess up your zipper or you might break your needle, especially when using this foot. So be smart and be careful. Obviously, you don't need a zipper of this length. I believe my zipper is about 18 inches long. You really don't need something that long because it goes all the way down and it's so unnecessary. Feel free to trim your zipper if it's too long. Me, I like having the full functionality of having a large zipper. Now, go ahead and start doing the other side of the zipper. Once I've finished installing my entire zipper, I love to top stitch over my zipper so it gives a very clean look, and this way the zipper doesn't get caught on any of the material. This is optional, but I highly recommend it and it looks amazing when you do it right. Now it's time for a trial fit. My skirt is a little bit loose, I was wrong about it, so I'm going to have to go in and make it a little bit tighter. So I'm actually generally really happy about how it turned out. I just had to take in about 4 inches. And then my skirt is done. Always make sure to try on your materials. All I did was make a brand new seam on the side, cutting in 4 inches at a diagonal. This way it takes it in at the top and it tapers at the bottom so it doesn't lose any of the flounce. Now I'm just going to go back and light the candle again and then seal off the edges. I already know the sizing that I need and I only need to make it smaller on a few areas. So this is going to be the end of the skirt once I finish sealing the edges. Now it's time to start the shirt. The shirt actually has a necktie at the back and then the shirt has a band at the bottom near the bust line. So what I'm going to be doing is cutting out a lot of strips of blue material. This first one is actually a 2-inch strip that I'm going to fold over and create a 1-inch strip. This is actually going to be the necktie at the back of the neck. I mean, obviously it's a necktie, so yeah. Make sure to cut a decent length so you can sew down the actual piece. This is because you want to be able to make a bow at the back of the neck, and that way it has a little bit of tails hanging down. The top was a little bit tricky because I didn't have enough material to make one solid cut. So what I did was use some of the scrap pieces and sew them together to make the shape first. I went back to the dark blue material and cut out a new triangle piece. This piece is actually going to be on the top and cover any mistakes that I have from the new shirt piece. When I was happy with the positioning of the new triangle, I made sure to pin it down in place. There are a few different ways that you can add this triangle. What I decided to do was pin it on top of the already existing fabric and then I would satin stitch it down. I played with the satin stitching settings a little bit first, and then I went back over and did it until I was happy. A satin stitch is a very tight zigzag stitch. It's often used as a decorative stitch, and I use it for a lot of different things. It's extremely time consuming, but I highly recommend using it in decorative elements and taking your time, because it can get messed up and then ruin your fabric. So take your time when learning how to satin stitch and, have fun with it. It's a type of embroidery stitch that all machines are able to do. Just make sure that you have a very tight stitch length, and a stitch width is really huge. Mine is at 7 and this is 0.05. This is what my top looks like on the dress form. I added darts on the front and then I folded down the top neckline so it creates a V. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw out the arm line to the back. It's basically a halter top, so I wanted to make sure that I have the right positioning, and then I'll cut it out perfectly. I'm keeping the salvage edge from the other side as a pattern piece to mark out exactly how much I cut off from the first time. And then I'm just going to do the same thing as marking it and then cutting it out. Now all I have left is the bottom bust band. So now I'm just going to use this really long piece that I have left, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out a long strip from my bust line. I'm using my actual bust line measurement for this, so whatever bra size you have, that's your bust line. For this band, I actually cut out 4 inches. I'll be folding it over and it will become 2 inches when finished. I went ahead and folded over the bust band, and then I sewed it directly onto the shirt. This way, it'll be completely attached. Did I say that this was actually going to be 2 inches for the bust band? I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's going to become 1 inch because we're using it as bias tape. So what we're going to do is actually take the top part of the new ribbon piece and put it underneath on the back wrong side, creating a folded edge. This is going to be sewn on top of, creating a bias tape. This is going to secure both the top and the bottom, so it will look really nice and clean, and this way it creates a nice beautiful top stitch. Now from an old bra, I'm going to be using the hook and eye area. I'm going to cut it off, and then I'm going to only be using one piece. So I'm going to cut off one little piece of the hook area and then sew it onto one of the bra pieces. And snip. You only need one hook. You might need 2 depending on how thick your band is. Now I'm going to go to the other side of the eyes, and I'm just going to cut that in half. I'm going to add this to the other side of the band. This is my first time ever using something like this, like a bra extender. So what I'm going to do is just sew it kind of like how I do with boxes. I'm going to sew a box on top of each other, and then I'm going to make a nice X. So this way the X will become very strong and support the bra edge, and this way it won't come undone. I'm going to repeat this on the other side, so this way the hook and the eye are super secure. We are the crystal gems. We'll always save the day. And if you think we can't, we'll always find a way. That's why the people of this world believe in garnet, amethyst, and pearl, and Steven! So, what we're going to be talking about is actually how I did my hair and makeup really quickly. So I did a nice blue contrast band with blue highlight, then of course my normal makeup with lashes. This is actually an Arta wig. This wig is a Ferrari, so it's actually really long, but I pinned it up so it has these little curly tendrils and the side swept bangs. That's really important to have. My gem is actually part of my Agnès Oblige cosplay, and I just took it off the metal piece and put it on my back. I used some nice eyelash glue. So it doesn't hurt at all. I didn't want to paint myself blue. What can I say? I'm Lapis. Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yes. Lapis. Okay. Oh my gosh, before I forget, really quickly, I sewed down my top piece here. I just go in ahead and sewed it down with a nice straight stitch. That way it pops up a little bit, it gives a little bit of dimension right here. I hand stitched this part down, the little ties in the back. So that's how they got attached. Yeah. Let me know in a comment down below, who is your favorite crystal gem in Steven Universe? I have to admit, this is such an easy costume and I had so much fun making it. I really challenged myself to not buy any other materials, and I've had a lot of these materials laying around. So it was really nice to do something with these materials. I love the colors of the blues. I think it's really beautiful to have the dark blue and the true blue contrast. And I was able to recycle one of my gems from a previous cosplay. While you can paint yourself blue, I chose not to. I'm still new to body painting and I have my own colors. I just want to get better at it before I tell you how to use it. Sound fair? Make sure to check some of the videos surrounding my head here, somewhere here, and that way you can see some other cosplay tutorials that I have to offer. If you have any questions or comments or costumes you want to see in the future, make sure to leave them in a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up and stay inspired, be creative, and I will see you in a future video. Bye!